Hello, and welcome to me co-opting the gym to do this vlog. My name is Alex, aka Rowan Liddell, and I'm here to talk to you about the fact that I'm also a writer. I've been interested in getting into PetTube, but I've also been interested in getting into AuthorTube, primarily because while animals are a major part of my life, I've grown up with them in my life pretty much since birth. Writing has also been an important part of my life. I am a writer. Rowan Liddell is my pen name, and I've been writing since I was 6 years old. When I was 6, my first story was it was like a bug princess getting kidnapped for no good reason, and she returned home for no good reason. It was about as well written as a 6-year-old could write, and give me a break, I did my best. My next book then came out when I was 11. Please ignore my acne. It just... Anyhow, moving on from that. My next book came out when I was 11. It didn't come out. I wrote it. I wrote my book when I was 11. It was a novel. Every novel I've written has been over 200 pages since the time that I was 11. I'm 26 now, so it's been a while since I wrote that first book. Anyhow, I'm sorry, I'm getting over allergies. Who am I kidding? I'm never over allergies. Starting this again, I write anything from fantasy to horror. I say that I'm a fantasy writer, but really I dabble in whatever interests me at the time. Today it could be a high fantasy novel, tomorrow it could be an urban fantasy novel, and the day after that it could just be suspense and crime. I don't stick to any one genre. I jump from genre to genre based on my interests, and I currently have way too many projects outlined, and that's my process. I come up with an idea, I outline it, I table it until I can get to it, because the projects that I have at the time take priority. Anyhow, I stopped writing in high school, primarily because I was so focused on my studies and getting into college and everything like that. You know, typical high school drama, trying to make friends, trying to fit in. I've always been an awkward kid, so writing was my escape, and not writing always proved to be a bit of an issue for me. If I didn't write, there's usually something wrong with me. That's like the first hint that I might need to go to a doctor or something, because if my brain's not producing these ideas, then we got a problem on our hands. I think I'll feel better if my hair is down and over here. Yeah, it's a good thing about having an undercut. Anyway, I stopped writing in high school, but I picked writing back up when I was in college. You kind of have no choice when you're an English major and you're focusing on creative writing. You have to write. It's an inevitability. Like you had to write in high school, but anyway, rambling. I wrote fan fiction for a long time under the name AB2F Psycho, and under that name I wrote Black Ice, Bill Dip, Desley. I'm only moderately ashamed of what I wrote, but fan fiction taught me a lot. It taught me how to plot. I never had an issue making characters. I had an issue giving them a story. So when you have pre-made characters that you need to give a story, it kind of forces you to use that creativity that you're not using when you're just making the characters and not doing anything with them. And not everybody plots. A lot of people pants their way through writing. I, for one, learned how to turn my pantsing abilities into an effective way of outlining, because what I would do is I'd just pants my way through the outline. It doesn't make sense. In my head it makes sense. I'm not sure it makes sense to anybody but me. Anyhow, started off fan fiction writing. Fan fiction writing got the attention of some pretty cool people, also some not so cool people. I wound up helping a forum get off the ground and helping run it. And my forum days meant a lot to me. I learned a lot about people, myself, writing. I learned what not to do with a character, for one. I will always feel bad for how poorly I wrote the character I had in the forum. A lot of people will tell me that I didn't write him poorly, but in my mind, looking back on it, he was a product of self-indulgence and self-loathing. And yeah, if I could change anything, I would change how I treated that character. I would give him a little more agency and dignity. And luckily, I have the opportunity to do that now, because I'm now a freelance writer, published author. I'm a self-published author. That book I wrote when I was 11, I went back and it's gone through 5 different drafts before I finally just rewrote it. And that book is published. It is The Blood of the Enemy from the White Dragon saga. I am exceedingly proud of that book, and I highly encourage you to read it. It is for sale on Gumroad. The whole premise of the book is we're following this I speak English. I'm an English major. The whole premise of the book is that, and the series, we're following the latest generation of the White Dragon, who was a king who once was revered, but then became a bit of a genocidal maniac. And this latest generation is surviving a curse that was placed on his family after the White Dragon's death. And this story follows Rhea, and Rhea must survive her brother, who is attempting to, I would say, outdo their ancestor, the White Dragon. It wasn't always this story. I didn't start off with this story. The main constant is the characters that are in it. The characters have stayed with me since I was 11, and I'm very happy to be giving them the platform that they deserve after all these years of leaving them in the dust and ignoring them in favor of other things like friendships that didn't last and a college major that, I can't say that. I'm proud of my college major. I'm proud of the work that I did in college. I did a lot more than a lot of my counterparts did. But I have a lot of words about college and student debt in society. Nobody needs to hear that, though. Get up and walk around a bit. So aside from novels, I also write short stories. I've written plays. In fact, if I want to do my full resume of what I have written, I would say 14 novels of 200 plus pages, a one-act play, a full-length play. That was my final for graduating college. I wrote it for my theater major. I'm a double major and a double minor. 3.5 books of poetry that will never see the light of day because that was some angsty BS right there. I say a lot. That's my forensics coach will come out of the grave to slap me if he keeps hearing me say What else have I written, people? I don't know. Oh, 2 journals of drabbles if you want to go and check out my resume of fan fiction. Like I said, AB2F Psycho is my handle. It's over on Archive of Our Own. Don't hate me for what I've done in my life, okay? If I can say anything about myself, I can say that I'm prolific and I'm versatile, and once I challenge myself to do something, I will do it to the best of my ability. That is how I've become such an advanced writer in my time. I may have a bunch of drafts that will never see the light of day, but I can say that I wrote them, and I'm proud of that. And I have to say that not only due to my grades, as much as they matter or they don't matter, not only due to my grades in English, that I'm a good writer. I would say I'm a good editor. I would never call myself an expert. That's just That's just my preference. I don't like calling myself an expert because I'm always learning, and I prefer to say that I'm always learning. I'm still learning good ways and good practices to write short stories and these articles about my animals. I call them memoir articles because it's basically me talking about my life with animals. And I put those in my newsletters, which if you are interested in newsletters, let me know. I could add you to my email list. But writing is such a huge part of my life. It's a huge part of how I maintain my mental health. And I can't imagine my world without writing. And I am extremely proud of what I have done. And there are very few things that I can say that I'm proud of about myself, because I just in general struggle to acknowledge that I have done some pretty cool stuff in my life. I like to put myself down a lot. You can blame my extreme general anxiety for that. You can blame a lot of my neurodivergence on that. Anyways, if you would like to support my writing, please consider heading over to my Gumroad and just purchasing what I have there. I've got a couple of short stories that I'm proud of, and of course my novel. I also have a coffee, if you would like to buy me a coffee. And in the future, my plan is to find somebody to do read-alouds of all of my books and short stories for free. And that way, people who can't read ebooks or don't have time and would rather listen to it can enjoy them. Or I've known people who can't read strictly because they're either sight impaired or attention impaired. That's not correct. What is the word? I apologize. I don't mean to say things incorrectly. It's just a part of me and my many issues. But people who can't focus, sometimes they need to listen as opposed to read. So I'd like to provide that for them, because Lord knows I know how it feels to not be able to do something because I can't focus, or I just can't. A lot of people can't help it. Can't is the word of the day. I'm going to put myself in a trash because it is a trash can, not a trash can't. I'm a memeing person. I need to stop. Right. If you would like something free to read right now, Tapastic actually has my attempt at giving that character from the forum a new life that's much better than the one I gave him before. His name is T. The series is called Wild Things Should Stay Wild. It's under my name, Rowan Liddell. All you have to do is go over there and search for it. And like I said, it's completely free. What can you lose? It's your time? I lose my time every day. Oh, whose fault is that? Obviously mine. But other than that, if you've managed to sit through this half-assed ramble of me trying to join AuthorTube, good job. I commend you for putting up with me. A lot of, and the harsh light, and anyways, thank you, and I will check you guys on the flip. So I promised an explanation about Jerry. So this is Jerry. He's my lovely mouse. Isn't he perfect? I mean, I think he's just the perfect color morph for me. I mean, how often do you see a green mouse? And this is Pet Creepy, my Mexican red-kneed tarantula. Isn't she beautiful? I love her so much. She's just the perfect spider for me. So, explanation of these guys. I have this habit that I will start obsessing over an animal, and I will convince myself that I want that animal. And I recognize that this was a terrible habit for me to form, because right now we are not ready for another animal in this house. So instead of going out and getting a real mouse, I decided that Jerry would suffice. Same with a real tarantula. I decided that for every animal I obsessed over, I was going to get a stuffed animal instead. And the reason I'm doing this is not because I have, say, hoarding tendencies, although I'm sure plenty of people will tell you that I do. That's fine. They can believe what they want. But the most important thing to me right now, ultimately, is making the lives of the animals I own far better before I get anything else. For example, he is growing so much he's going to need a cage upgrade. Bendy is actually perfectly fine, but Gideon Randall also needs a major cage upgrade because my goal is to turn these tanks into 75 gallons or larger. And for me, that's just way more important than indulging a craving for a new pet. So yeah, that is why I have Jerry. Jerry and Pet Creepy are here as reminders that I do not need to constantly feed my obsessions with new animals. That I need to take care of the ones that I have first. And it's all because I have anxiety and depression. You know, the fun stuff. I've got the stuff that makes me not want to interact with people, but rather just keep surrounding myself with animals. And I am definitely not at my limits of what I can handle, but I'm at my limits financially currently. And I'm at my limits spatially. And it's important to keep those things in mind. Isn't that right, Scruffy? Scruffy just had his nails done. I trimmed his paws and I trimmed his beard and around his eyes. He's not happy with me. You look up at that. Yeah, he's not happy with me. I have breached the trust of Scruffy. Anyways, goodbye!